I'm Eric Loy, and welcome to Eric Loy Interviews. On this podcast, we talk with folks from the VTuber community on their channels, their talents, their stories, where they come from, and their plans for the future. I welcome Howl Hime. Hi.
Hello.
Hey, welcome to the show. Please introduce yourself to everybody.
Hello, I am Howl Hime, Wolf of Chaos.
And we enjoy chaos more than anything else here, being a big fan of the Marx Brothers. And if the world were run by the Marx Brothers, we'd be all in a better shape all the way around. We also wouldn't know. We also would have absolutely no idea what was coming tomorrow, which is pretty much fine at this age for me. Thanks for coming on. Please let me know how do you got started on the VTuber thing?
So I followed Ray from Achievement Hunter for a while.
Yeah.
And his solo streams, he had a lot of VTubers in like 2024, 2025 kind of join him.
Mm-hmm.
And so like I got to learn more about VTubing through them. Mm-hmm. And then eventually I'm like, hey, I want to do this. I've been in content creation since I was like 12, 13, maybe even younger.
Mm-hmm.
And so finally I'm like, this is a medium that I think I can excel in a little bit better, just because I wasn't really a fan of like face cam streams or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
Never really cared for myself or anything like that. So I'm like, let's give this a shot. It was just during the boom of the customization models, or the customizable models with the Suica,
right?
Came out.
Yeah.
So I'm like, hey, I'll get this, test it out, gave it a shot, and I've loved it since.
That's so. I mean, were you able to slide right into it from your other content creation? Was it an easy transition for you?
Yeah, it was pretty easy. I had been testing like PNG tubing a little bit,
mm-hmm.
like the year prior, and I didn't really do too much. I just made like a basic custom one, and then I ended up just rebranding all my old stuff over, just because I got rid of the old usernames that I had before and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
I was just kind of in the limbo at the time, and I'm like, hey, I want to get back into content creation. It's always been a dream and stuff of mine, so let's just rebrand, and kind of rolled from there, because I already had basically everything, the like microphone and everything that I needed to get started.
Yeah. How did did you bring some audience with you when you got started?
I didn't. Nope. I started pretty fresh.
Mm-hmm.
I had a little bit of followers and stuff on like Twitch,
mm-hmm.
but I don't think anybody had really been or has been like active. I haven't seen anybody that I had used to see before,
mm-hmm.
Other than some like IRL friends and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But like I started fresh on Twitter back in like May. I used an old account that I had, changed its name, and started from zero, and now it's just a little under 400 followers.
I think it's pretty dang good. I mean, that's not bad at all. I mean, how does it feel to do this and have that kind of acceptance from an audience so quick?
It's scary. It's amazing. It's a lot of different emotions and stuff that it can feel every day, honestly. Some days I can feel like, oh, I have a little bit of an audience. I want to make sure that what I'm saying and everything is good. It isn't going to disturb anybody or anything like that. And then there are other days where I'm like, just throw everything out the window and just say what I need off my chest.
That's the chaos part.
Exactly.
You don't know what's coming next. Well, with all of that and getting that put together, would you say that this has become an escape for you or a destination for you?
I would say a destination. I don't separate like content creation from my real life a whole lot, other than like keeping some personal stuff, like not getting myself doxxed, essentially.
Right.
Is the main thing there.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty open with like my coworkers and stuff because I work in a repair shop. I'm like, I have them added on different stuff, and they see me go onto VTube Studio all the time, and they're like, "Man, you're on there a lot." And I'm like, "Well, I stream a lot."
Yeah. Yeah. Have any of them tuned in?
I don't think so. A lot of them kind of just do their own things. They're all gamers, so
Yeah.
they usually just play games. They don't watch a lot of streams.
Mm. What would you do if one of them showed up?
I would just say hi. I wouldn't mind.
You wouldn't like be freaking out, saying, "Don't tell them anything."
No, I'd embrace it.
That's cool. Yeah, it really sounds like you got very comfortable very quickly with it.
You kind of have to be when it comes to content creation.
Mm.
Again, I've been in content creation for a while, but I've also been viewing content creation for even longer.
Mm-hmm.
Back in the old days of like Let's Plays on YouTube, just after it transitioned from some forums back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
And like, you just got to be really comfortable. You got to put yourself out there. And I mean, you're putting your voice onto the internet. You're putting gameplays, you're putting your voice, you're putting your own personality out onto the internet. And the internet is so widely available and so accessible that you just have to be prepared for anything.
Yeah, it's also the feedback you get can be pretty wild. I mean, it's
It is.
you're out there in the plains with a bow and maybe an arrow, and that's about it. And because you're going to get slings and arrows on occasion. Have you had any of that problem after switching over to VTubing?
Nothing really. I haven't gotten anything like from a viewer or a chatter. I've had like the anonymous questions I get every now and then on Twitter, and they're just hiding behind an anonymous mask. So I don't really think anything of it, because if they're gonna try and hide behind a mask, I'm not gonna really give it too much time. In fact, I'll usually have more fun with it because, in my opinion, nobody can hate myself more than I already do hate myself in the end. I'll be my biggest fan and my biggest hater.
Yeah.
I'm going to be a perfectionist and just want everything kind of as best as I can. And so, like, they can call me different names, especially because I'm trans. I'm not really hiding that fact out in the open or anything like that. I have one of my Oshi marks as the trans flag,
right,
because it is a part of my personality. In fact, I openly came out in real life around the same time that I started VTubing, and I didn't hide it from day one just because that's just a part of who I am now.
Yeah, and very recently too, actually. I got to congratulations to you before we came on, and you had a very big event in your life here fairly recently. If you want to share it, but I'm just saying that congratulations to you for it.
Yeah, thank you. Just to like not skirt around the bush, it was changing my legal first name, and then I live in Minnesota, so I was able to move stuff around for like my actual like designated birth gender and stuff like that. So everything is how I want it to be now.
yeah, and being able to do that now is pretty amazing. When I was growing up, no one could do that. I mean, it would have taken so much stuff to go through for that sort of thing, and people would have just lived with it. But there are some pockets now where you are able to do that sort of. Do you think VTubing helped you along those lines, or was it just something that was kind of there?
Obviously VTubing did help. You see VTubers rebrand every single day.
Mm-hmm.
You go from one name to another.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, in real life, it is not like that.
No.
Especially, it depends on where you live in the end, on how it is done. Like, here in America, it is filing papers. You have to, like, I had help from an attorney here in Minnesota that did it pro bono for trans people, which was really awesome. But you can do it without a lawyer. And then from there is just like, I think having the experience of just talking to people, networking, and stuff like that, that helped me overcome the fear of it all, as well as just having friends and fans that were able to just kind of cheer me up and cheer me on through it all.
Yeah, that's great to have that type of support system.
Hmm.
And not everybody has that sort of thing. And I don't personally care how much support you have. It still takes some courage to do. But
Yes.
no matter what it is. So again, you've got my full congratulations on that. Um, and with do you see VTubing as a chance for people to present themselves the way they want to be presented and be able to kind of embrace that?
I think so. While I think the VTubing sphere does have a lot of more, like, when you look at models and stuff like that, you see a lot of the larger personalities, of larger corporate or even larger independent VTubers. You see a lot of women in there.
Hmm.
Um, and there isn't anything wrong with that, especially as a woman myself now. But
you,
I
you
definitely
you
think,
you have to speak from that side.
right? But what I do want to see a little bit is you can be whoever you want to be. You can be a man, a woman. You can be neither. You
Yeah.
can be just a dog or a duck. You can be so many different things
Hmm.
in the VTubing sphere.
Yeah.
And it isn't about necessarily being like what you want to be in real life. Kind of what we talked about a little bit earlier is VTubing can be an escape for a lot of people. And I was talking to that extent with a friend earlier, and a lot of people like politics is a big thing nowadays,
Oh yeah.
unfortunately, and it has been forever in the long run. But people see the internet and VTubing as an escape, especially when it comes to streams and viewing and stuff like that.
Right.
And so some people just want to escape being a human. They just want to be. I've seen different like eldritch entities VTubers, and I
Yeah.
think it's amazing.
Oh yeah. If you look down the list of VTubers over these last 2 years that I've interviewed, if you find something that you can define with every single one of them, and other than the fact that they are VTubers, it's it's amazing to me is that everybody's got different reasons and stories and why they're doing it and different talents and such for doing such a thing. You had already started content creating. Why did you get into content creating in the first place?
I so it's a great question, and I always love this question because my answer is always different
Mm.
depending on the medium. So I've always been interested in cartoons. I've always loved cartoons and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And so I pursued voice acting for the
Oh,
longest time. And I
cool.
still do to an extent. I'm just not super active in the community as it is.
Mm.
But what I ended up kind of doing is, um, as I followed more creators, I'm like, hey, I love video games. Let's make Let's Plays and stuff like that. And this is back when dazzles were the biggest thing for content creation for YouTube and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So before I even got a dazzle, I'm like, hey, let's throw this really old webcam up and record off of that.
And I watched a lot of those the your Markiplier and Jacksepticeye and those guys quite a bit. And there's a couple I still watch every once in a while, though there isn't as many as there used to be. It doesn't look like. So many of them have transferred over to streaming live one way or another, um, and just kind of a natural transition. And just like going from in the movies, going from the silent screen to the talkies, some haven't been able to make the transition. Um, sometimes it's too big a thing to jump from one to the other, and it's a kind of a new era. You have a chance now to reach an audience that is almost limitless. Um, there's no ceiling. Now it may take you forever to get there, or a while, or tomorrow. But do you feel that um, the extent of the possibilities when you're streaming?
I do. because you never know what type of viewer will pop in. You never know how many viewers you're gonna get right off the bat.
Hmm.
Um, I mean, honestly, when it comes to streaming, when I go live, I usually expect one or two people to just pop in. I usually have one friend that'll pop in, and he'll help me with different like I play Ocarina of Time recently,
Hmm.
and he knows the game like the back of his hand, and so he's been guiding me through it a little bit, mostly because he hates watching me just hit a rock and hope it works. Um, but a lot of times it's just you can have a stream where you have hundreds of viewers. I wish I could say I actually have had hundreds of viewers, but most I've had is like 24, which is amazing,
Um,
especially as a super small streamer.
I mean, just
And
imagine
then
24 people in one room watching you. You know.
exactly, and then there are days where you don't get anybody, and they're just it's part of the game in the end.
Mhm. Yeah, and but they being able to, I just love. I'm sorry, I can't unshake the visual of you being in there just hitting a rock over and over until someone's so disgusted they force themselves into their into your game to help you.
He literally was like, "Can I please guide you?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure." I was literally for an hour just hitting this rock outside of Hyrule Castle, because I couldn't get to the princess or anything like that. So I'm like, I've never played Ocarina of Time really before. I played most of it like
Hmm.
to the Forest Temple, and then I got stuck. And this was like a decade ago or so.
Mm.
So it's definitely a new experience, and it's such an older game that it's so different from what we have now.
He was standing there hitting that rock. Anybody out there have any ideas? Clink, clink, clink. The thumbnail is basically just hitting a rock. That,
And he told me he was very honest in saying like there are glitches that can happen if you hit it correctly, and I was waiting to see if you would, but after 45 minutes of watching you hit this rock, I'm like, no more.
uh, now that is an actual really bold move for streaming content. Is just randomly hitting a rock 45 minutes. If people
I
sit
gotta
through
live up
that,
to the name of chaos.
if people sit through that, they will sit through everything you do at this point. So with coming on, you had some folks. Did you have some folks already that you knew in the VTuber community before you started VTubing?
I didn't like not as friends or anything like that. I had view or not viewers, but I had people that I watched.
Hmm.
Like Chibidoki was I would always say is like my Oshi,
You talk about
because I just
chaos.
love her.
Good gravy.
Exactly. That's what I love about her.
Yeah.
And so like I just like I said, I started from zero on Twitter, and I just kind of slowly networked. I followed people, I got followed back, I talked back and forth with people, and I just eventually made some friends.
Mm. And it kind of organically, evidently that way. It kind of
Yep.
grew, and with that, have you been able to do a lot of collaboration with
I haven't actually done any collabs just yet. That's
them? Mm.
been my goal for this year is to do a couple.
Yeah.
The closest I've done is back in December. I did a charity event, and it was like we would raid into one another for it
Mm.
throughout a list of 2 days. And um, while I didn't have anybody on stream with me, I got to know a lot of amazing people. And then later in, I think it was the 23rd of December, I joined one of a friend stream, but I didn't stream myself.
So you were on there, but you weren't. You didn't have your stream attached with it.
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah. So what would is there are there criteria that you want to meet before you do a stream with somebody, or is it going to be somebody that you really really know already?
Not really. I'm really open to anything. Honestly, it's just I haven't had the time. I also stream at really dumb hours. I live in Central um, Standard Time or whatever, and so I usually stream like midnight my time
Yeah.
when it's like 4 a.m. across the world and stuff like that.
Oh yeah. I'm
And
here.
then I go to like
I'm
2 a.m.
I'm right here with you. I mean, I my I'm very lucky to where my job Um, my job gives me hours to where I can talk to folks in different parts of the world at particular times, such as folks in Europe before I go to work, folks on the other side of the planet in Asia after I get off work, and it just works out that way. But that's not true for everybody in the Central Time Zone.
Right?
Yeah. See, right. If for example, for folks, if you were to want to collaborate with somebody in England, Greenwich Mean Time, basically in England, that's 6 hours ahead of us. If you were to go on at 11 o'clock in the evening, that's 5 a.m. for them.
Hmm.
A little early for their tea and crumpets. But it might be a little tough to get the collaboration at that point. But if you were talking to somebody who's 16 hours ahead of you, um, and in, I don't know, the Philippines or something like that, now you've got somebody in 4 o'clock in the afternoon. That's a little different. It's 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 made the world so small and big at the same time.
It has.
And yet to me, now I'm just talking. When I started in radio in the '80s, the only way you talked to somebody on the other side of the world was on a ham radio or a shortwave radio, which I loved listening to at the time, and I wish was still active. Um, and certainly, talking to somebody on the other side of the planet would have cost everything. You would have to mortgage your house. Ma Bell had a hold of it so tight that if you called 10 miles down the road, that was long distance. And you had to be very careful as to what you did with the phone. So getting hold of somebody on the other side of the planet would be unbelievable. Now I just walk into a room and pick up the microphone.
Right. Yeah, it's amazing. So, I used to work in telecommunications for the longest time, and I had to help people with getting international phone plans and stuff like that.
Yeah,
And it's still really expensive,
yeah,
like when it comes to calls and texts and stuff like that.
yeah,
But we live in a day and age now where we don't have it anymore, but we had Skype. We have now Discord and so many other ways to chat with people across the world. It is so amazing.
yes. So let me see. Now, should I on my phone pay extra to send a message over my phone, or should I just go to, let's say, Blue Sky and send a message there for nothing?
Right.
Yeah. That's a tough call, you know. It's one case where technology is kind of advanced uh, past the pay mode for a little bit. Uh, so now that you're in and you've been doing it for a little bit in this format, what types of streams would you like to do that you haven't done yet?
So I have a couple that I've been trying to plan and do. I like playing GeoGuessr,
Mm.
and I'm planning a trip to Japan in like a couple years with friends.
Ooh.
And so I'm planning to do like a stream where I'm like learning Japanese a little bit more, as well as like planning my itinerary for a day when I leave all my friends and go to Hokkaido all on my own because they want to go to like Disney World or something. And I'm
Oh.
like, nah, I want to go to Hokkaido and have
Yeah.
fresh milk.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I would want to. I. It's like why Disney World? You know, you could do that here. I'd want to go to something that wasn't here. You know, head out.
Right. I don't know. I never really grew up. I liked Disney to an extent, but I didn't grow up as a huge Disney person.
Yeah.
I liked Cartoon Network and Nickelodeon more. So
Oh yeah.
I I I know there is some new stuff in Japan for Disney World and stuff. Like I think they do have some anime exclusive stuff there.
Hmm.
But to me, again, like you said, we have Disney World and Land here.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Okay. You talk about growing up on those two channels. Which ones were your favorite to watch?
definitely Cartoon Network. I grew up with Ed and Eddie.
Hmm.
Um oh man, I everything has gone blank right now. Foster Home for Imaginary Friends
Oh.
was big favorite of mine.
Yes.
Toonami, towards the end of the day, was always a great one. That's
Yeah.
how I came into my love for anime and manga.
Yeah. Yeah. Cheese. The character
Yes,
Cheese. Folks, if folks don't know what I'm talking about, go find it on YouTube. Austin's Home for Imaginary Friends, Cheese. You'll realize, and you'll never forget them. You'll never forget Cheese.
cheese is amazing, and I have heard that they've talked about doing either a reboot or like a reimagination of the show.
Hmm.
So I'm interested to see how that works out with cheese because I don't know if people would really like him nowadays.
Well, I mean, I don't know how you could do it. You have to, such a unique character for that show, and fit in it so weirdly perfectly.
He really did.
Yeah, and it'd be pretty tough to get around it. This is, I like cereal.
I like chocolate milk,
I also like chocolate milk. What was
and then
it?
he's lactose intolerant too.
Yes, yes. And the episode where they had the go kart, and
Yeah, when he was introduced and the
yeah,
flaming bunnies,
yeah.
I love that episode.
And when they finally got a chance, got it all set up to go down the hill, they started, and he immediately started screaming. Anytime it moved, he screamed all the way down. It took him like 2 hours to get down the hill.
Yep.
Oh, folks, you got to watch it. That was again. There were a lot of Ed and Eddie is its own, of course, thing and iconic. For me, I loved the Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy.
Yes. Grim Adventures, Billy and Mandy were amazing.
Yeah,
Codename Kids Next Door.
yeah.
Even like Cow and Chicken, like I look back on. Courage the
Dex-
Cowardly Dog. Just so many different shows that like
Dexter's was
helped
big.
grow. Exactly.
Yeah, yeah, and there was some stuff on Nickelodeon too that was really good. Angry Beavers for me was just a riot. Um, I couldn't help but laugh when I saw that sort of thing. And yeah, I was much older than the average person watching those shows, and I still am, and I don't care. So come at me if
No,
you want.
I definitely understand that. I watched like cartoons. I still watch cartoons. I watch anime
Yeah,
every day still.
yeah,
But as I'm nearing 30 this year, but like yeah, Angry Beavers. I never really watched it, but I liked Rugrats.
mm,
SpongeBob was back in its prime, just kind of still new at that time.
yeah,
So that was the big thing back then.
yeah, yeah. But there's one show now that every time it comes on, I will stop and watch, and it is to me an amazing bit of everything, and that is the Gumball. Um, just for me, it has every type of humor in it, and inside humor, outside humor. The animation style is ridiculous. Um, I just find that an amazing show. I don't get a chance to watch it very often because I'm married, but but I would if that I thoroughly recommend that particular show. But I just liked anything that made me laugh, and I don't care that anybody else liked it or didn't like it. It's that's one of the things about anime too is that you've got a whole lot of things to choose from. There are so many different routes to go. You may like an anime that no one else even watches.
Yeah, I think it's almost 430 animes that have fully finished
Oh,
now, and still ongoing, honestly.
oh,
And there's so many like anime out there that is just pure humor.
yeah,
And then there's anime where it mixes humor and serious tones. Like you can have One Piece where you have a lot of humor but a serious conversation at the same time.
right, right, yeah. And then there's some like I was talking with a guest earlier, Ghost in the Shell, which I really enjoyed.
Hmm.
And those are the types of ones that I would like to watch. The kind of future post-apocalyptic or something along those lines, or like Cowboy Bebop is an obvious one. That type of thing. I enjoyed those shows quite a bit. But
A lot of cult classics for sure.
yeah, but you sound like you get down to the nitty gritty, and you'll look for some and find some hidden gems in there.
I'll try to watch a little bit of everything.
Mm-hmm.
So like right now I'm watching Call of the Night, and while the story isn't amazing in my opinion,
Mm-hmm.
I really enjoy like the animation and like the characters in it, that it's enough for me to like stick with.
Mm.
While I also just tried to rewatch Tokyo Ghoul, um, and I was able to get like 5 episodes in. And I'm like, I don't want to watch this right now, and I don't know if it was just it wasn't grabbing me as much as I would have loved, or if it's just not as good as I remember. Is it a nostalgia thing or not?
Yeah. Had you already watched it before?
I have.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. That's tough to do. I mean, when especially if it's an older show and when you play it back, you kind of see the creaks and the other things have passed it up as far as animation and story quality and that sort of thing. Sometimes it's better to leave it in the rearview mirror where you can see it better.
Right. So
But
like a great example of that is I've watched and rewatched One Piece going on 4 times now.
yeah.
And a great example is there's a character in One Piece, kind of in the anime. He's shown a little bit in the manga, but not as much in Buggy's crew at the very beginning of the anime.
Mm-hmm.
And it's your old stereotypical cartoon colored character.
Mm-hmm.
And nowadays, stuff like that just doesn't fly. And so people will find this character and will make fun of it. And it's not even shown anymore
Yeah.
in the anime or anything like that, because even Oda has gone, the creator of One Piece,
Yeah.
has gone and learned. And there are plenty of other stuff, like even in Japan, or in a lot of different cultures, there's symbols that just we look down on now, while in other cultures they're like a symbol of peace. A good one is the manji,
Mm-hmm.
where it's the it isn't the Nazi symbol, it's the origins of it, but instead it was transformed into a hate symbol, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But it's supposed to be peace.
Right. Right. Well, yeah. I mean, it for most of the world now, it certainly doesn't mean that, but for those who
Yep.
embraced it and kept it was. I mean, they actually. I've watched one of my things to watch in downtime is treasure hunters, metal detectors, and someone found over here in the United States a medal with a swastika on the back. It was from the early 1900s, and it was a good luck medal. And it's like,
Oh wow, yeah.
yeah, boy, that wouldn't fly now for good
Nope.
reason, but certainly is a relic to look at. But yeah, there's a lot of things that now, especially when you look at any older cartoons. Heck, even Warner Brothers has cartoons that they had to edit over the years, or just not show completely.
Yeah, there are plenty that are just never aired.
Yeah, some of them were edited down when Turner started playing them because of violence. Some of them were edited down because they were Song of the South quality. I'll put it
Yep.
that way. Which is a movie that I actually saw when it came out. Not when it exactly came out, but before it was gotten rid of. But the tastes and social climate has changed a lot. And again, that's what I think. Some things are better left in the rearview mirror to look back on. But yeah, it doesn't mean you can't have a like of the actual comedy behind most of what is going on with it, though. And
you can't have today without the past. And
yeah.
So history can remain history, but it's all about what you build as a future.
Yeah, what you've learned from it in
Exactly.
many issues. So when you're on stream, what are you usually doing?
Usually I'm playing games. Lately I've been kind of bouncing back and forth. I'm a bit of a variety streamer,
Mm-hmm.
more or less with games. I play a lot of Nintendo.
Mm-hmm.
I had more of a like nostalgia November, I call it,
Mm-hmm.
where I played through a lot of Nintendo Mario games.
Yeah.
I've played a little bit of Pokemon. Um, right now I'm going to be playing like it's kind of a meme thing where it was like 12 games in 12 months.
Oh,
And so I'm starting that. I tried it a couple days ago with Fire Emblem, but it kept breaking and
yeah.
not showing on stream properly.
Yeah.
So I'm trying a different game and then trying Fire Emblem again later.
It seems to be a problem with that particular game. It is something about how it runs just messes with or takes up so much on the computer that you can't do it and stream at the same time. And I don't know. It seems to be a real tough one for some folks to get around. Yeah, I hear more than one person having trouble with it. So have you said you had to bail out on that one, or are you still going to try it later?
I'll try it later. Because it's a 3DS game, I was emulating it,
Mm.
and emulation just isn't great. So because I use a Mac or a MacBook Pro, I should
Ah,
say, for my
yeah,
main like streaming setup.
yeah,
And while it's great, it's an M1, so it's a little bit beefier. It's still not up to par on like a PC or anything.
yeah.
And for whatever reason, OBS just kept freezing the video of it. And
Ah,
so my plan is to eventually like get a 3DS with a capture card and use that for like Fire Emblem Awakenings and Fates, which were recommended to me
mm-hmm,
because they're great games, and I love Fire Emblem Awakening.
mm-hmm.
It's my first ever Fire Emblem game, and I wanna. I like emulation and stuff like that. I just find it a pain,
Yeah,
so I like to just play it like how it's supposed to be played. Well, not how it's supposed to be played, but how I easily can, which is on the actual console.
right, right. There's just some games. I know when we had my wife and I had a PlayStation early on. There were some games that were um, some of our favorite arcade classics were downloaded like 20 of them onto one CD, which is a little sad actually. But when we put them on and tried to play them, uh, we couldn't play them nearly as well because the controllers weren't right. If you're trying to play like Battle Zone, which was a uh, a tank game, just line graphic tank game, which I enjoyed playing. I never was very good at it, but I enjoyed playing. You can't do that on a PlayStation controller because the controls are different.
Right, or and a lot more limited depending on the controller itself.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Try playing a game like a Breakout on on a on a controller that doesn't have a one of those spin dials. It doesn't work that well. You're going back and forth and hoping
Yep.
it sets up correctly. Um, there's it's the emulation might be great, but the hardware might be different, which is why you try to get the hardware as much as possible.
Right,
Yeah. So I can see why that would be a situation. Of course, that also runs up some costs.
it does.
I mean, how far are you willing to go to get the right hardware for the games you want to play?
um, so I try to be as frugal as possible. I work in a tech repair shop, and so
Mm.
I can modify a lot of stuff as
Ah.
easy I can, as well as I also get a lot of stuff just like recycled in
Mm.
store,
Yeah.
and so a lot of stuff works. So like I've gotten a couple DSIs, I've gotten a couple different things, like a couple laptops that work perfectly fine, and people are just like, oh, don't need it anymore.
Wow.
So I can usually either try and sell them if they're still working or modify them to work.
Yeah.
Or I also, um, we have a program that I can fix stuff for a cheaper cost. And so I'm going to fix a 3DS that I already have and get it to work with capturing.
Dang. So you got skills.
I'm the dedicated computer repair tech at my store, and I have helped some of my friends in the VTubing space with their computer issues, or even social media issues where they don't know how to run Twitter.
Yeah, that could be a pain sometimes. But I mean, sometimes Twitter doesn't know how to run Twitter.
You
um,
are right.
yes, yes, and that is not intended to be a political remark, just a catty one. And true.
Honestly, what was it? This past week, it was down twice, I think.
Oh yeah, yeah. I just sit there and watch the X, and like, okay, what am I supposed to do? Of course, that tells it.
Posts are not loading right now.
Yeah, it also tells on me for probably using it too much. So there you go. When there's
Yep.
alternatives available. Uh, so what is your next goal with VTubing, or do you have a goal really?
Goals are hard because I could say one thing one day and achieve it a couple minutes later
Yeah,
without trying. Or depending on what it is, I should say, I
yeah,
could say, "Oh, I want to collab," and then a couple minutes later, I have somebody being like, "Hey, let's collab,"
yeah,
um, and then we do it. So that's done. So I'm somebody who doesn't really like to try set up too many goals. I think out front, I would say yes, I would try and do a collab stream, maybe during a better time frame of streaming earlier in the day,
yeah,
because I can modify my schedule a little bit
yeah,
to help with that and help with others too. And I'm happy to modify my own schedule,
yeah,
just make it work, especially if it's a one-off thing. Beyond that, it's just kind of getting more followers. I'm affiliated, so getting subscribers. I had affiliation when I was a facecam streamer,
yeah.
and I've actually only gotten one subscription, and it was from a pizza guy, which is a really long story.
Yes, yes. I will say this from the radio side of things. Having pizza guys as a fan of yours is a good thing on the radio side because then sometimes their deliveries don't pay and you get a pizza at 7 o'clock at night for no particular reason. But we scavenged everything in radio.
Oh, yes, I know. I worked in radio a little bit myself,
Oh yeah.
and I have heard some stories from jockeys that have been around it forever,
Mhm.
and I've heard and seen some really interesting stuff in
Oh,
the field.
oh my gosh. You want to talk about MacGyvering stuff and putting stuff together out of scratch. Have you seen radio people at work trying to save a remote that's not working right?
Oh yes, yep.
One little quick,
I uh,
yeah,
I was just gonna say sorry. I helped like set up the ads for like the radio and whatnot, which was fun.
yeah.
But he also was the guy that was teaching me and helping me with that was also the guy for setting up the radio tower. And
Mm,
for whatever reason, the radio tower was just down all the time or during a certain amount of time.
right.
And he's trying to remotely figure it out and he's just losing his patience.
Yeah, yeah. It's when you have the remote stuff. Sometimes a radio station will be in one town and the tower and transmitter will be in another county. And it's just sent there by microwave or wire or such. So you try to do all the things remotely you can, and then you have to drive out there in the middle of the cow fat pasture and hope that the cows did not visit right next to the door, and and go in and
Yep.
and battle the bees and wasps that have set up inside the tower to fix it. Meanwhile, you've got 50,000 watts of power screaming up above your head, and you're humming it, and you could feel it moving through your body as you're doing this sort of thing. Not that I've ever been there before many times. Um, but we had a situation where we were doing a remote broadcast with what's called a Marty unit, which is a small radio transmitter that is used to transmit back to the radio station to retransmit the sound. It was a basketball game, a high school basketball game, and the
Hmm.
the antenna did not work all of a sudden in between the third and fourth quarter of the game. we had nothing, and this was a big rivalry game. We had commercials to play, and I'm like the de facto sports guy at the time, putting those together. So I'm like, we got to do something. So I said, you guys each have cell phones, right? Yeah. I said, okay, you call me on this line. You call me on this line. We're going to conference it, and you're going to do the rest of the game on the cell phones. And no one knew the difference in the audience. The sound quality
That's amazing.
The sound quality was a little bad. I mean, and they had a hard time understanding each other at times. But you learn sometimes how to make good stuff out of really horrible stuff, and it worked, and we got that thing done. So I was
What the listener doesn't know, they will just think, oh, it's just my radio going out or something like that.
That's
so
right.
I could see that.
Yeah, but a radio guy listening to him, they go, something's wrong. And then go get free pizza, because that's what we like to do.
Exactly.
Freebie stuff is what we live on. It sounds like to me you're really comfortable with it, and with everything going on and what you've been able to do and get comfortable with your own life, you've got to be pretty happy with it.
Yeah, I'm happy. I'm still new. I'm just like half a year into it, and I got still half a year left before my quote unquote anniversary from debuting. And I mean, I want to see where I'm at after that year.
Yeah.
While I do have a lot, like I said, I don't really make goals, but I'm excited to see what the future holds ultimately.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you're going to be doing great. You got a very, very easy person to talk with, and you've got one of the more comfortable voices I've heard in a long time to talk to. I think it's all set up for you, and as long as you're still enjoying yourself, that's the best way to go. I want to thank you so much for coming on. It's great to talk with you again. Congratulations on everything that's happened here, especially recently for you. And absolutely nothing but the best for you in the future, okay?
Well, thank you for having me, and thank you for talking. You've been amazing to talk with yourself, and I look forward to maybe talking again a year from now and going over more of growth and just chatting.
Sounds good. Thank you for listening to Eric Loy Interviews. Join us again next time when we talk to another member of the always interesting VTuber community.